talked a little bit earlier about the changing media environment. This was Jon Stewart's take, turning serious for a moment last night. Worth watching. Take a look.
If there is real solace in this, I think it's that for all the hyperbole and the vitriol that's become a part of our political process, when the reality of that rhetoric, when actions match the disturbing nature of words, we haven't lost our capacity to be horrified. And please, God, let us hope we never do.
All right, a serious note from Jon Stewart. We are now joined by a man who is always serious, Chris Cillizza, The Fix, Washington Post. This is your triumphant return to top line?
Yes. You know, I took a period away, and I've returned. It was kind of like a hermetic.
One time with your family, all that.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Focus on my family, and now I've returned to action. Thank you for having me. I didn't get the wear a dark suit and blue tie.
Yeah, it's all right. It's right. Chris, I got an email that kind of yesterday from a Republican leadership office listing all the times that Barack Obama has used gun metaphors and whatnot. I don't know if you got the same one. I'm wondering, is that the beginning of the end of our truce, or are we going to have a period where people simmer down now a little bit?
I always think that, I wrote about this yesterday. I think what's hard is that, you know, right now, and Rick mentioned this in the opening, we're in this kind of lull in politics when we all act as though politics has ended for the moment. But of course, if you look back from, you mentioned the Challenger explosion, September 11th, Oklahoma City. If you look back in retrospect, certainly on September 11th and the Oklahoma City bombing, there were significant political ramifications that came out of those events. Now, were they political events? No, but remember, Bill Clinton used Oklahoma City to turn what was kind of a listless presidency, painting the right and extremists on the right and himself as kind of the sensible centrist. So these things do have political repercussions. That's what's difficult for a political reporter like myself is, you know, you don't want to politicize the shooting of both the congressman and other people. But the reality is, it's something that dominates the news coverage and
has a political impact.
It has impact.
And it's got people re-examining the language of politics, the rhetoric of politics. One thing you pointed out in your blog in the last 24, 48 hours is that it's not changing the politics of gun control in all likelihood. And that's one thing that seems like there's consensus on. No one seems to think, wow, this is going to energize efforts to ban assault weapons or
Although it's interesting to see the Senate Sergeant at Arms kind of weighing in
there you go.
on the debate.
Fascinating. Yeah, that this is better left to law enforcement.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rick, to your point, look, the stat I always return to, Gallup has been asking a very basic gun control question since about 1990, which is, do you think gun laws should be made stricter, less strict, or stay about the same? In 1990, that number was 78% in favor of more strict regulations. In October, 44%. The other number to take into account that I think is totally fascinating, external events don't seem to have any impact on that. In October of 2006, 56% of people wanted more strict regulations. In October of 2007, 51% of people. What happened in between that? The Virginia Tech shootings.
Amazing.
So it dropped 5% despite an incredibly high-profile, tragic event that left dozens of people killed. It had a net negative effect on the number of people. So I just think the natural reaction is to think, yes, this is going to change things. History and polling suggest it's just not.
And you think about it, the Democrats in the House and Senate used to be fighting the closing the gun show loophole, the assault weapons ban. They're not touching it.
And remember, closing the gun show loophole, remember after Columbine in 1990, they were unable to get the gun show loophole closed. There hasn't been a major piece of federal legislation about gun control in more than a decade. So
I just think weapons ban, is that the last one?
Correct. We need to take a big step back and realize it's just not likely to change things, as tragic as it is.
Very briefly, in our last 30 seconds here, President Obama, big opportunity tomorrow night.
Yes.
Do you think he touches the rhetoric debate? Do you think he touches gun control?
I think he touches it, but very lightly. I think President Obama, unlike a President Clinton, for example, is very self-aware of trying to capitalize on these things. Now, I think his political advisors will want him to.
Right.
I don't know if he does. I think he's a little more aware and less cynical about politics. This is clearly a moment, though, because everyone will be watching.
All right,
we will certainly be watching.
The Fix, back with us.
Thank you guys for having me back.
That does it for this edition of Top Line. We'll be back tomorrow. If you can't get enough in the meantime, it's twitter.com/Rick Klein, twitter.com/John
Carl. And that's without an H, by the way.
H? Who's an H?
All right.
Only
Thank you,
punks
man.
spell it.